the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for July 2022. So welcome to July. We have a brand new month, a brand new energy, a brand new life lesson for us to dive into. But first, let's take a look at the month that we just came out of. June, of course, provided us with the lessons of 6. We had to get back down to earth. We had to reorganize, restructure, reanalyze the day-to-day workings of our life, our mental narrative, where it is that we haven't been making enough time for our mind, body, and soul. We definitely had a lot of reorganization to do, especially coming out of eclipse season, diving into Gemini season. We had a lot of choices. We had a lot of decisions. We had a lot of different paths and directions that we had to debate. It really did do a absolute number on our mental plane, on our heart space. It was confusing as hell. And of course, we spent Gemini season debating the pros and cons of our choices, of our actions, of the direction and path in which we now desire to take. We came into June with Mercury going direct. Of course, that really helped us out a bit, although we didn't feel like we were gaining any clarity, especially towards the end of June. And then we had Saturn go retrograde just hours within Mercury going direct. It definitely added to the wonkiness, to the craziness, to the lack of clarity that many of us were looking for when Mercury goes direct. We had Mercury re-enter its place of power in Gemini, which definitely kind of made it a little bit stronger in our mental plane to support the pros and cons, the debate, the internalized conflict that we had going on between our heart, between our head. That full moon in Sag illuminated a brand new truth, brought in a whole lot of information that definitely swayed our current beliefs. It illuminated for us where it is that we were lacking focus, lacking direction, and where it is because of the wisdom, because of the previous life lessons that we've gone through, where it is that we had to align with our highest self in order to actually make sense of this physical realm that even to this point doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We entered into Cancer season with the solstice energy that reset the playing field. It gave us even dark to even light. It definitely leveled us up to this new level of this video game that we are playing. And for many of us, it brought back what it felt like to be freshly awakened. New ascension symptoms coming in, feeling like we felt them for the first time, a new amount of confusion. And of course, when we entered into Cancer season, we had Venus step down out of her place of power to move into Gemini as well. The solstice triggers this experimentation phase that we will be into up until the Lionsgate portal, early August. We have a lot to experiment with. And of course, Venus being in Gemini, Gemini provides us with options, with choices. Of course, they're very extreme. They're very polarized, but we have to open up our minds. We have to open up our hearts. We have to see life and what it is that we find worthy and value of our time, our energy, our effort from a different perspective. We had Neptune go retrograde hours before the new moon in Cancer peaked. This was just a couple of days ago, and of course, sets a very interesting foundation down for us to move into July. So we got a lot of water, a lot of emotions, a lot of intuitive insights coming in. We are gifted with the ability to deal with life. Again, Neptune going retrograde slaps the rose-colored glasses off of our face. We cannot run, we cannot hide, we cannot live in La La Land any longer. We have to dive into this present moment, as uncomfortable as it may be. We are prepared for reality check after reality check because the new moon in Cancer gave us the opportunity to realize where, yes, there needed to be an emotional release, especially tied to the inner child, the home, the family dynamic, the boundaries that are constantly being tested in order for us to recognize where it is that we have to find safety, security, stability, not only in our physical lives, but in our emotions, in our mental plane. And of course, with all of this new information, With all of these new experiences, we have to do a little bit of, yes, experimenting with what is going to work, what isn't going to work, but we also have to get to work in building a proper foundation for us to set the stage. What are we setting the stage for? A brand new reality. What does that brand new reality look like? Well, many of us don't know yet. That is up to us to do the inner work necessary to align with the vision, to back it with an emotion in order for us to actually get to work in manifesting that. So we come into July, the month of 7. 7 is a very lucky number. It is also very focused on us balancing the scales, right? There's been some craziness. We are always looking for stability. We are looking for peace. We are looking for harmony, all very much topics and themes that relate to the 7th house in astrology, that relates to that 7th house ruler, which is Libra. That rule gets ruled over by Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure and joy and money. And with some of the global situations popping off, of course, the distractions, if you will, to get everybody divided that much further, to get everybody angry and fearful. We have the goddess in a very important situation coming into this month where we have to do what is right. We have to fight for justice. We have to basically realize what is fair, what is not fair, and fight for those causes. So the 7 energy is about relationships. First of all, the relationship that we have with ourself. The new moon in Cancer created a beautiful foundation for us to learn about the relationship with ourselves due to the safety, security, and instability that many of us are feeling in our physical realms and in our own emotions. The relationship with ourself, where worth and value, skills and talents, self-sustainability, self-sufficiency, so that we can stop looking outside of ourselves for validation. This is also going to kind of overflow into the relationships that we have with other people, going all the way back to eclipse season where many relationships got rocked. For good reason. Many of us are in relationship dynamics that we have no business being in. If you're still in those said relationships, mostly because you either financially can't leave or, you need an escape plan to do so, all very much survival issues, we have to understand that the relationship dynamic is coming up in order for us, regardless of uncomfortable we may be in certain said relationships, whether with ourselves or with other people, that we still have to find happiness. We still have to find appreciation, gratitude. We still have to find joy and pleasure. It sounds like we're not able to do that when things are so dark and gloomy, but trust me, orienting your mindset to finding the positive, plucking out the silver linings is going to do the world of good for your heart, for your head, and for your overall vibration and frequency. So we're coming into July, of course, still in Cancer season. We have some waves to ride. We have a lot of emotions to explore. We have a lot of realizing where it is that we're too attached to old storylines, old soul contracts, old memories, old emotions, old thoughts, old ideas, in order for us to recognize that we've created this comfy little space for us to live in, the 4 walls of home that we've created, and where those 4 walls are now starting to look like a jail cell, keeping us very stuck, very kind of encapsulated, if you will, in the old energies that our old selves have created. We're looking to bust out. We're looking to bust free. And there is a lot of energy this month that's going to help us open our mind space, open our heart space, get that in alignment, because of course those two need to be in alignment before we can actually engage the physical body to start doing the physical work needed in order to align with our dreams and our visions. So we have Mars and Mercury both stepping out of their place of power, Mars stepping out of Aries, Mercury stepping out of Gemini on the same day, on the 5th. And what do we know about the 5th? Well, that there's a concerning matter. If you did not listen to the ascension forecast for June 26th to July 2nd, I'm going to recommend that you do that. We dive in, we go on a little bit of rant on what this whole CERN thing is about, and the fact that it's happening on the 5th when we are in the Ceres portal of our sun, aligning with the Ceres star system that brings us in high vibrational frequencies and light codes. Very interesting, right? The evildoers, they use the astrological formations and alignments for their evil agenda, so that us light workers have to counteract that evilness with all the light, with all the love, with the one love, community, understanding, and compassion that's going to override some of the negative narratives and timelines that they're actually looking to establish. So having Mars, the god of war, move into Taurus, an earth sign, you best believe that this is when we're going to see physical evidence, physical rewards of our efforts, of our energy actually coming into manifestation. Now, it is going to be a little bit slow. It always is in Taurus energy, but we are going to be super productive. We are putting that energy, that passion, that desire, even that anger to work in all the right ways, and we're definitely going to see the levels of productivity for it. Mercury moving into Cancer is going to give us a beautiful opportunity to blend our intuition with our logical, practical, egoic mindset. Mercury rules over the lower level intellect. We have Cancer energy ruled over by the moon, giving us a lot of intuition, a lot of insight, a lot of feels that might not make logical and practical sense, but blending the energies together, we're able to kind of grasp, pluck out these visions being downloaded into our highest mind, bring them into the lower level intellect, and analyze them. Start brainstorming with them, adding a certain level of strategy and calculation to them so that we can formulate a plan on how it is that we're going to make the changes that we know that we have to make, and actually bring forth the elements from our dreams, from our visions that we absolutely have to anchor into this physical world so that we can start building upon them. We have a lot of different asteroids that I don't normally talk about going retrograde this month. So not that I want to dive into them. We will dive into Chiron because that's one that is pretty familiar and frequent to a lot of people. But we have Vesta, we have Juno. There are some very important energies with those asteroids that, I really should start talking about, but I don't want to overcomplicate a whole lot of things. Just know that there is a lot of dark feminine energy rising to the surface. Now, when I say dark, most people think negative. That is definitely not the case. It is dark energy, meaning that we are using the lower vibration and frequencies of emotion, anger, frustration, oppression in order to rise up, to stand in our power, to make a change. And again, I'm going to reflect back on some of the topics and themes that popped off late in June affecting women and their rights. We are seeing this uprising of the feminine divine energy, but we are tapping into the dark in order to turn it into light. We are tapping into the pain in order to turn it into power. So we have a full moon in Capricorn this month that is definitely going to feel low and slow, definitely going to put the weight of the roles and responsibilities in our life on our shoulders, maybe suffocate us in a couple of ways. Capricorn energy, of course, is the great manifester of the zodiac. But here's the thing, it's a full moon. We have to end something. We have to close the door on something. We have to recognize where the blockages are preventing us from manifesting certain aspects in our life. And although it is going to be a heavy weighted energy, we always know that when things are tough, when things are very low and slow, when we are feeling the tension and the conflict and the pressure, that always happens right before we're going to have a major breakthrough. So the full moon in Capricorn is going to illuminate for us where the blockages are, where the challenges are. And once we can identify them, then we can do something about it. Many of us being in this experimental phase right now with things coming and going, trying to test the waters on what we want to, keep around and what we want to get rid of. It's a hard thing to do to actually realize the blockages and why they're happening. Sometimes we have to sit there and realize that we got to bang our head against a wall for a certain amount of time before we're actually given the green light go to, bust through that obstacle, that wall, that challenge. But other times it's like, well, maybe we're just sitting here banging our head against a wall because this isn't the right path. This isn't the right direction. And therefore, when we at least open our peripherals up to the fact that maybe the course that we've chosen from point A to point B, that there's a better way. So the full moon is definitely going to illuminate for us where there's a power struggle going on within us, within our physical realms, within certain relationships, to illuminate the blockages that are preventing us from actually manifesting the elements that we need to bring into life, and how we can kind of override that narrative. We have Venus moving into Cancer. This is going to be a hella emotional time. Now, let me just say, it's not going to be I hesitate to say that it's going to be a totally bad transit. It's not, but we get very sentimental. We kind of yearn for romance. We yearn for connection. We want intimacy. We learn a little bit about ourselves through the new worth, the new values that we're seeing within ourselves. Of course, that Cancer energy brings a huge focus on our intuition and being able to navigate the depths of our emotions, regardless of whether they're irrational fears or inner child work or shadow work. We're able to get in touch with our feelings a lot more, but it does put us at a disadvantage because we're so freaking hypersensitive that we react to everything. And it's a very reactive energy that we honestly are going to be tested on how strong our mind is over our emotions. We have Mercury moving into Leo energy, the heart and the soul of the zodiac, the fire energy. Finally, we start having ideas popping off. We're communicating our ideas. We're able to actually bring information in from our heart space, from our soul space. We are able to tell the kind of stories that need to be told in order for people to understand where it is that we're coming from, the experiences that have shaped us. It is a very, very high energy time. Of course, Mercury ruling over the mental plane, air energy. We have Leo energy, which is a fire energy, the heart, the soul of the zodiac, the pride of the jungle. We have a lot to say and we will be heard. Think of that lion roaring over the jungle to remind those MFers, I almost slipped, MFers, who it is that we are and the position that we have. That is very much a vibe that we are going to be building up to. But on the same day, we have Chiron, the wounded healer, going retrograde, 16 degrees in Aries. Let me just say that Chiron, when the wounded healer goes retrograde, it's a time for us to face our fears, to face our trauma, to step up in self-care, in trauma work, in helping ourselves heal. And so when Chiron is direct, as it has been for the last couple of months, we are just pushing through life. We're accumulating these battle wounds. We're accumulating these battle scars, but we don't notice them because we're still engaged very much with the fight. Chiron kind of steps off the battlefield, if you will, for the first time in a long time when he goes retrograde. And then we become aware of the wounds in which we've accumulated and how we have to kind of help heal them and repair them. It is going to be a little bit of an ouch situation, but because we have Mercury, again, just fresh in Leo energy, we're getting raw, we're getting vulnerable with our heart space, with the wounds that we've accumulated on our heart space, with the guards and the walls that we built up in order to protect our heart space, and we're definitely going to do something to repair those situations. We do all this just before the sun moves into Leo, the heart and soul of the zodiac. This is when we get real. This is when we get a little bit more playful. Again, we're still in an experimentation phase. We are looking for fun. We are looking for romance. We are looking for creativity. We are looking to basically express ourselves in a way that is raw and vulnerable to the world. Why do we want to do that? Because for the most part, we are junked up with the collective. We have to do what other people expect us to do or want us to do. Leo energy is where we stand in our own individualism, recognizing that it is us as the individuals that come together to make the collective. It is our important uniqueness, our skills, our talents that when brought to the world makes the world a better place. And we're definitely going to be reminded of that. We're definitely going to have an opportunity to celebrate all that we've triumphed through. We are also going to recognize where it is that we need to be a little bit more proud of ourselves, standing in the spotlight, taking the opportunity to be seen, to be heard, to tell people, share with people how it is that we got here. This is going to be a very important aspect for us to come together in our individual unique isms in order to see the similarities that we have instead of focusing in on the differences. We have the new moon taking place in Leo at the very end of July at a 5 degree. Again, if you've been following these astro forecasts, you will notice that a lot of these new moons are taking place in the earlier degrees of the sign. This is a huge, huge hint that these are brand new cycles. We completed certain cycles over the last 2.5 years of these particular energies, and now we're starting fresh. The new moon in Leo is going to be fire. It is a beautiful opportunity for us to get in alignment with our heart space, just as we're preparing to enter into August. What happens in August? The Lionsgate portal. Why is that important? Because it's a timeline jump. It's a soul contract jump. It's basically when the solstice energy popped off and gave us this time frame, this window of experimentation where we get to lock in what it is that's working for us, what it is we want for ourselves, whether or not we're going to stay where it is that we're at and revolve around certain situations, scenarios, the same old, or where it is that, you know what, we tested the waters, we're not so happy with this jam, we're ready to move on, level up, and evolve and move ourselves into brand new territories. On the exact same day as the new moon illuminates its beautiful self in this fiery Leo energy, we have Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, improvement, blessings, beliefs, going retrograde at 8 degrees in Aries. That's right, we have been experiencing all of this Aries energy since the beginning of May. This is the first time that Jupiter has been in Aries energy for like 12 years. So we didn't really get, I'll be honest, we didn't get a prime opportunity to put Jupiter's energy to work in Aries because we had a lot of aspects that were pumping the brakes on that. Jupiter just wants to go, get started, jump into something new, create a new opportunity, open up a new chapter, especially in Aries energy. That is the spark, the passion, the desire for something new, to initiate, to take a brand new beginning in life. So at 8 degrees, we've only had a little bit of time to actually explore this energy. And now Jupiter going retrograde, we're going to have to take a time out, retrace our steps thus far to see where it is that we actually bossed up to grow, to improve, to progress, to see where it is that maybe we did start something new, we did initiate something new, and how maybe that is working for us, but probably how it isn't working for us. Why? Because many of us jumped in willy-nilly. It's a false start. And so we are going to have this review. And again, not to get too ahead of myself here, but Jupiter will re-enter into Pisces energy in October before going direct in Pisces in November. And then we get to move forward and retrace our steps from the very ending of that Piscean energy that will also throw us back into the spiritual realm to see whether or not our higher selves actually believe the course in which we tried to initiate in this Aries energy was actually in alignment with our soul's mission and our soul's purpose. Then we get to move forward in this Aries energy once again and really bring things to life, really get things started, really kick off and see the actual opportunities that we didn't get to dive into so much actually unfold for us, an opportunity to explore those brand new beginnings. We're going to end July off with a beautiful, beautiful aspect between Uranus and the true node. Uranus, the great awakener, likes to shock us, likes to give us curveballs, likes to open us up to change and make us a little bit more easily to adapt to major changes. In Taurus energy, of course, we are looking at our physical realms. We are looking at resources, relationships, routines. We are looking at worth. We are looking at value. And of course, with this Uranian energy bumping into the true node, which is our soul's mission, our soul's purpose, we are going to have a huge freaking life lesson just be kind of anchored in. Now, we're already kind of exploring that energy, especially under the new moon in Cancer. Uranus and the true node were super, super close to one another, but this is going to be a direct aspect. So we're definitely bringing it down a notch. We're definitely going to see a lot of shakeups and wake ups in our physical circumstances, in our physical realm. realms in order to identify where the cracks are in the foundation, what it is that we need to work a little harder to strengthen and solidify before we go ahead and we actually continue to build upon the foundations that we're currently building in order to bring the dreams and visions to life. This is going to kind of change our mind on what is most important to us, what it is that we actually value, our definition of comfort and abundance, what safety and security actually means to us, what happiness and joy actually means to us. And of course, just be a little bit more connected to where it is that we have to stop relying so much on other people, especially where, grocery stores and resources and government and banking, all of those systems and structures, where it is that we need to pull all the way back and become a little bit more self-sufficient and self-sustainable. So we got a lot going on this month. It is going to be a fire month. It's going to be super quick. It's going to go by like you wouldn't believe. And a lot of things are going to make a lot more sense moving through this month compared to June. Because of course, we were just coming out of that Mercury retrograde. We were just starting to get things situated from the eclipse energy. And then we had a shake up and a wake up call that kind of made us all discombobulated again. Experimentation phases are never fun. Adjustment phases are never fun, but be open to it. You know what you've been getting from doing the same old, which is what you've always got. So you have nothing to lose by opening yourself up, mind, body, and soul, to trying new things and just see the results of what it's like to put yourself out there, to bust out of your comfort zone and to step into brand new territory. So that is your intro to July's energy. We're going to break it down one astro forecast at a time, starting first with July 5th. We have Mars moving into Taurus, Mercury moving into Cancer on again the same day that CERN is going to pop off. So when you're ready, let's jump into it.